What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups, and it is the Rex and the Robbie Show because it's Friday, and that's what we do on Fridays, the Rex and the Robbie Show, where we take some of the bigger news in pop culture from the week and we discuss it. Tonight, we'll be talking about Wolverine's yellow costume. We've seen pictures of it. We'll be discussing that. We'll be discussing the new Superman Legacy casting news. Lots of random characters are going to be in the new Superman movie, and we're also going to be talking about the return of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, to comic book pages as a mutant, believe it or not. And remember, you heard it everywhere first because it was not a surprise. Anyway, you can't have the Rex and the Robbie Show without Rex. How you doing, Rex?
What's up, bud? Can I mention that we've been doing this noontime Eastern, which is, what, 11 o'clock your time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since, been over a year now, hasn't it?
Yep.
You got to stop saying tonight, bro.
For some people, it is tonight.
Tonight we're going to talk about, like, looking out the window. It ain't even night here, bro. And I'm on Eastern time.
Yeah, I know. I just woke up like an hour ago, too, so.
And
but for some people, it is night, Rex.
Great. What?
Oh, thank you. I said for some people, it is night. You know, we have an international audience here, Rex.
In Asia.
There may be some people watching right now in Asia. I'm just saying. Or they're watching it later. Anyway, how you doing, Rex? Did you have a good week?
I can't complain. So, as you know, next week on Friday, which I just told Robbie, is going to be the Robbie and Amy show, as I am on vacation next week. So Amy's going to fill in. So I expect that the show will be much more positive in nature, as opposed to the Rex and Robbie show, which is armed hand-to-hand combat, depending on what we're talking about. So a different look. So they'll be holding hands and singing Kumbaya next Friday.
Yeah, it should be actually, what's going to happen is you're going to come back from vacation, find out the video, me and Amy's video went viral, and then everybody's going to be like, sorry, Rex, you're booted. It's just Robbie and Amy now. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to lose some sleep over that one.
So before we get into it, I just want to say I watched Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 yesterday.
Oh, and?
Wow. Really liked it. Really liked it. Now, a lot of people are giving it really high praise. And as an initial reaction, I'll say this. First of all, it's a 2.5-hour movie that feels like it's an hour and a half. It flies by, right? Tom Cruise is great in it. The stunt work is great. The action scenes are great. The one thing I didn't really like about it was that they have a lot more kind of comedy placed in it in times, especially during action sequences, especially in the very last one. Yeah, well, it's not as bad as Love and Thunder, but there is some comedy in there that doesn't always quite land, but there is comedy in there that lands, where I was cracking up. Saw it in IMAX, looked gorgeous, the sound was amazing, but here's the biggest thing. One of the best cinematic villains I've seen in a long time in a movie like this. I think one of the weakest parts of the entire Mission Impossible franchise has been their villains. The villain in this movie is truly threatening and scary to me. Like, holy cow, the villain's an AI, right? But it's so cleverly done where it really has this like foreboding sense to it. So I would highly recommend it. Right now I'm going between a 4 or 4.5, but it is really, really good. I would recommend anybody check it out.
You know what? I think the magic of Tom Cruise's action films, okay? I think
you're cutting in and out, Rex. Rex, you're cutting in and out, buddy.
He's using that.
Rex, your internet's going out. You're in and out.
Yeah, I know. I know, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and surprisingly never happens on Nick's show. Original art, never. Is what I'm being told. It's so frustrating. There is a new laptop on the way. The IT guys are telling me it's part laptop, part crappy internet from Comcast. So but oh gosh, I know Perry Gaming, right, dude? It's getting so. I see the little circles and I get frustrated. But I was saying, because Tom Cruise uses that Jackie Chan trick, he does a lot of his own stunts. I think there's a lot of interest. And even, I got to say, now we know, but when Top Gun came out, there was a realism, even in the cockpit, where he's pushing back and whatever. And then there was another one, Iron Eagle, I think, came out around that same time with Lou Gossett Jr. And it wasn't a horrible film. It's kind of goofy, like kids. The pilot's son's really going to steal an F-16 and go rescue his dad. It's premise is a little goofy, but you could tell the flight scenes were different. The quality was not as good because they weren't pushing back, they were moving, they were just kind of sitting in a chair. You could tell, and they weren't really in motion, right? So even that, he had gone to the extreme, and I think that's what makes it so popular is that he does do his own stunts. How much longer he can do it, I don't know. He's not a young man. Like jumping off that cliff on the bike and the parachuting off. I mean, that's just sick. That's just wow.
Yeah. That scene's pretty cool, dude. And I mean, he does it, and you see that it's him, and he's even like giving lines while he's like midair and stuff. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. That's I gotta admit that's pretty impressive, regardless of what you think of Tom Cruise. So I think that's really the magic of his action film. So I expected that Mission Impossible was going to be, especially after him doing that stunt, was going to be unreal.
Yeah. All right, so is Tom Cruise the highest grossing actor of all time? Well, I pulled up the list. Let's go through it. At number 10, we got Bradley Cooper. Right?
That's what I believe.
At number 8, we've got that's just lead roles in one single movie. Hold on then. All right, here we go. With all roles combined. Top 10. Number 10, Andy Serkis. He was in Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. That makes sense, right?
Okay.
Number 9, Robert Downey Jr. Number 8, Scarlett Johansson. Number 9, Zoe Zadana. Number 6, Chris Pratt. We're seeing something here, right? A pattern.
One of the big grossing films, you're on that list.
Part 5, Bob Bergen, who voices characters in Looney Tunes and Minions. Minions is probably the big one there. 4, John Ratzenberger, who was in Incredibles. Number 3, Frank Welker, who did voice acting, of course, in Transformers and stuff. Number 2, Samuel L. Jackson. And they got number 1 listed as Stan Lee because he was in all those Marvel movies as cameos.
So that's not really, I guess.
That's just, but that they don't, Tom Cruise doesn't even make the top 20 on that list because it's all Marvel actors.
That list is kind of skewed,
Yeah, it needs to be lead actors.
So I think, I don't think that's quite the right measure, if you will. I don't know.
Highest grossing lead actors of all time. Number 1, they say Scarlett Johansson. So, I don't know. They're just going to keep putting a bunch of... Yeah, if I look at all these lists, it's all Marvel people because, like, Samuel L. Jackson's in all those movies. Yeah. Where is Tom Cruise on this list? Oh, no. Tom Cruise, obviously, though, makes a lot of money. So does The Rock. Tom Cruise movies make a lot of money nowadays. All right, so let's jump right into it. First of all, the actor strike is going on. So that means they've halted production on Deadpool 3. So I don't know if they're going to make their date yet. We got the writer's strike going on. We got the actor's strike. We'll see. But Rex, I want to know your thoughts, and you out there in the chat, I want to know your thoughts because we talked about this last week. The rumors that Hugh Jackman was going to be in the classic yellow and blue costume. Well, it's here. We've seen it. What do you think, Rex?
I think it's going to be cool for X-Men fans who have always wanted to see him in the classic yellow suit. I think it's a gimmick. I think that either or people are going to watch Deadpool because of the history of Deadpool. And it's been a good film, good casting, the right amount of sarcasm, and the right amount of comedy with the right amount of action. So the yellow suit, I think, is cool for the old heads that remember the Byrne Claremont X-Men and things of that nature. Do you need it? Probably not. Will it make a dramatic effect on box office? I don't think so. All right. I think, irregardless, you're going to watch a movie if you want to watch a movie. So I think it's a bonus. All right, if you will. Like they dropped an extra cherry on your ice cream sundae. Would you have eaten the sundae without the extra cherry? Hell yeah. But will you take the extra cherry? Yes, I will. So I think it's a, I don't want to say it's a big nothing burger, but I don't think it's going to essentially change anything.
It's like when you order a 12-piece nugget and you get 13.
Right. Oh, there you go. Okay, that which almost never happens. They count those things out by machine. But I think that Flash kind of proved that point, right? Like, yeah, you can drop Michael Keaton in there, and it can be a vehicle, and certainly this film needed it. But you can't just keep dropping Michael Keaton in the film and make it a good film.
Yeah.
You know. So ultimately, Deadpool, I think, is going to be popular. I think, I hope that the screenplay is going to fit the other Deadpools. They have the right formula. I think Hugh Jackman is, again, well cast. I think we want to see the character of Wolverine, especially now. And I think Hugh Jackman's played that role, tremendously in the past, whether the movie was accepted or not. So I think that Deadpool will stand on its own, regardless of the classic yellow suit. So to me, it's kind of a nothing burger. Thank you very much. But will it?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Okay, so when
my decision, one way or the other, no. If we go watch it and it's bad like Flash, we're gonna call it's bad.
That's true. And of course, now it's in danger of missing its release date because of the actor strike. Are you just a little bit behind me, maybe?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I am. Oh my God, I'm ready. I'm ready to pick the laptop up and throw it out the window. Except we don't have windows to actually open. But
I think you're a good 10 seconds behind me or something, Rex. Just so you know.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even believe it. Am I still behind?
Yeah, you're still behind. Let me go for a second here. Yeah, you're still behind.
I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to reboot that.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to reboot you.
Okay. Oh man, this is always so funny when that happens, isn't it? It's great. Well, this is what I think. For years, people have been asking to get Hugh Jackman in that classic Wolverine costume. That's what people said they wanted from the very early days. In the first X-Men film, they make a jab at it, when he's like, what did you expect? Yellow spandex? So I've always said, I think it would look ridiculous for a badass character like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine to be wearing like this yellow costume. There's Rex, you back?
Hopefully.
Yep. All right. You're right on top now. That's good. So what I was saying was everybody's been wanting this from the beginning. And at the beginning, a lot of us were saying, including me, I think it would look stupid if he's wearing yellow. Well, one thing that these pictures prove is, yeah, it looks ridiculous to see this dude in this bright yellow. But I'll tell you what, if it will work in any movie, it's going to be Deadpool. Because it's probably even a bit in the movie where Ryan Reynolds is going to look at the camera and be like, what we really want to see. Snaps his finger or something. All of a sudden, Wolverine's in like that costume. So I think it's cool to see. I'm glad that they didn't try to do this in the first X-Men movie. You know what I'm saying? But the costume itself doesn't look too bad. I would have preferred the brown and tan. But the yellow, I mean, if this was like a serious film, I don't know if it would come across very well. But for Deadpool, I think it's going to work just fine.
I would agree. I totally agree. So it's going to work. Ariaga, I totally agree with you. I am 110% behind you there. The studios, it's not actors like Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds that we're worried about. It's all those other actors, all those other writers that are trying to make a living. And yeah, I'll be honest. To me, this is totally linked to the topic which we covered before about Jack Kirby, about Steve Ditko. Okay, same problem, different era. Okay, now look, I heard Ryan Reynolds sold one of his companies for like $1 billion. Look, he's not hurt. Hugh Jackman, not hurt. Tom Cruise, doing just fine. But how many other actors trying to make it in this industry are trying to do that? Okay, how many? Kurt Flood. I don't know. I know. Yep, you got it, Lefty. We're going to the Rex rant. Kurt Flood. I don't know how much you know about the history of baseball. I know you're a fan, but you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, well, he's the one that started the whole thing where he wanted the players to get more of because back in the day, like the players were basically like they could be moved wherever they wanted to go. They had like nothing. Yeah.
The team
Kurt Flood's
owns
the one that broke it. And some people say that that's like I mean, it's obviously a turning point in baseball that was needed, but then it kind of went way off into the other direction at some point, you know, and but yeah,
You know
yeah,
what?
I know.
And that's just like the conversation about name, likeness, image, okay, for college, and people screaming. Well, personally, yeah, you know, do professional athletes really deserve to make, like, you know, talking about Otani? I mean, his next contract, they're looking in the vicinity of something like 800 million. I mean, it's crazy, right? Okay, but you know what? Love watching Otani play. Best both way player since Babe Ruth, better than Babe Ruth, maybe even, you know, God forbid I should say that. But it's amazing. Why should some fat cat who does nothing, okay, like I got to mention Floria and the Marlins and the things that he did to that team, and putting all the money in his pocket, like Dolan and the Knicks, okay? What did you do? You're rich. We got that. How you got rich today? We call it however you want. But you're not the guy who's actually playing basketball. You're not the guy who's actually striking people out and leading major leagues in home runs. Why do you get the money? So yeah, this is one we argue about now. Like, oh my God, this guy's getting paid like that? Crazy. Okay. Where would you rather the money go? Into the pockets of the owners? So in a sense, the whole writer's strike, the SAG strike, same problem. And same thing that happened to Kirby, at Ditko, same problem, different eras, same problem.
Exactly.
Right?
And, you know, some people get this idea in their head, especially when it comes to the sports things or the actors thing, right? Like with the actors, they do think about, you know, the Ryan Reynolds, the Tom Cruise, the Dwayne Johnsons, like the people that are fine. Like they don't need more money. So like it's easy for some people to be like, they don't need any more money. And then you look at, you know, like baseball or basketball, and you're like, man, they're making so much money. Why would they go on strike? They make millions of dollars. Well, we're not talking about LeBron James. We're not talking about Aaron Judge.
Right.
We're not talking about Otani. You know, like we're talking about the average base player, right? Like the average person.
Like the actor who played Winter Soldier. I forget his name. What's
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read a
And the
story
idea is
that
it's not about greed. It's not about greed on the part of the people that want more. It's about like, this is the pie. How is the pie divided up amongst who's actually responsible for the pie?
Well, Sebastian Stan is a perfect example. You know, he played the Winter Soldier, he played Bucky, all of a sudden, boom, he's out there. People know him. Okay. But I read stories that after First Avenger, the guy was still scraping. The guy was practically homeless, trying to put together some money. Everybody knew him as Bucky Barnes. He was in one of the most successful films out there of the time. And the guy, after making the movie, is still scraping around trying to pay his bills. Why? Why is that? You know, and there are so many more actors in the business that aren't him, that didn't even get to be there, but make quality movies and have done a tremendous job, but didn't even get there. So where is the money? The money are going to the fat cats. And you know me. Here we go. Get ready. Buckle up, Lefty. Okay. My favorite executive, Zaslav. Even if his butt gets fired tomorrow, that golden parachute is going to be phenomenal. And he makes all this money to do what? Exactly. I'm trying to understand. He deserves all that money for what reason? Dude, since you took over, you haven't put a decent DC film on the block yet. Okay? What you did with Discovery, what did you bring us? What? Keeping up with the Kardashians? Is this your claim to fame, Pally? Yeah, so I see what's happening here. And I'm totally in support of it as well. If we got to wait longer for movies, we got to wait longer for movies. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe, okay, it sends a message to these fat cats. And maybe we go back and watch old movies that we haven't been watching anymore. You know, I throw this out there, but Gone with the Wind, I don't know. Something that was made a long time ago that we just haven't been watching because we are inundated with stuff now. Streaming this, streaming that, movie this, movie that, Flash. Okay. We have been bombarded. So maybe this is, you know, maybe all this isn't such a bad thing. At the end all. Now, it's bad for the writers, struggling actors. I hate that, but I understand where they're coming from. Share some of the pie. Okay. You know,
Yeah.
You spent all that money on Batgirl and then you shelled it for a tax break. Is this what you're telling us? But you begrudgingly don't want to give these actors and these writers anything? Why? So you can put, well, I go on and on. It's every industry across the world now. Okay, same problem that we've had since the beginning of time, right?
I love how every Rex rant here on our Friday show somehow winds up tying back into Batgirl. I absolutely love it, Rex.
Because you made the movie. It's there. Okay. Oh, well, it didn't test well, but Flash tested great. Well, we know what that's worth. Okay. It's worth what you find at the bottom of a porta potty, pretty much. All right. So that excuse don't fly. Okay. Flash sucked. It clearly, what? It tested well to your family? Did you, I mean, who did you test it with? You didn't test it with anybody that clearly did not reflect the general public, because the general public's view, thumbs down. So who the hell tested it? But yet you tested and said Batgirl didn't work. Okay, was it the same group of your family that tested that one too after you told them, I want you to don't like this because we get a huge tax break by shelving?
I liked Flash, but I don't think the problem with the Flash was the actual movie itself. I think it was just the whole entirety of the DCEU and just waning interest, really.
Well, that's fair enough. Okay, but that's a different topic altogether.
But I mean, it says something when Michael Keaton as Batman returning doesn't get butts in seats. That's ridiculous.
Nope.
I'm like, that's crazy.
So I think the yellow suit, going back to the original topic, I think the yellow suit's like Michael Keaton. If the film's going to work, if it's what we anticipate it's going to be, the yellow suit's just going to be a bonus. As you say, we might get a scene where he snaps his fingers and there he is in the yellow suit, right? So it's going to work. But even without the yellow suit, if it works, it's going to work. So, getting the extra cherry, the extra McNugget, if you will.
Yes.
It's not going to shift things because Flash proves to us that extra cherry ain't going to make a crappy sundae taste any better.
That's true. Could be the best cherry in the world, but if it's on some spoiled, nasty ice cream.
Lefty, very good point. Okay. If there was anything you were going to shelve, it should have been the Flash. Okay. If Marvel eventually replaces Majors as Kang, which they probably will, okay, then what DC did with Ezra Miller, okay, makes them look horrible. It absolutely makes them look horrible. I know you shot the film. I know money's in the bank. I know you've spent all this money, but you were willing to take right off the loss on Batgirl. That's when they lost them all high ground for me. Okay. Irregardless of the film and the quality of film and the numerous Michael Keaton cameos or dropping him to try and get butts in the seats, I think that they successfully kind of buried it. They called Miller's mom in, put him on lockdown. I get it, but the damage is already done, bro. This guy's been accused of some pretty horrific stuff, and you turned a blind eye because it was about money. But you were willing to let Batgirl go. It was about money. At this point, it was clear. You had some bean counter make a decision, going, all right, here are the numbers if we do it this way. Here are the numbers if we do it that way. The issues be damned. We got his mom, so he's on lockdown, so he'll keep his mouth shut. All right, morally, you lost the high ground right there, right then and there. That to me was key. So I don't know.
All right, switching gears slightly. A few weeks ago, we got the announcement of the casting of Superman and Lois in Superman Legacy. And I was like, cool. Now we're just waiting to hear who Lex Luthor's going to be and who's, Jimmy Olsen's going to be, Perry White, all this stuff. Nope. We get randomly out of nowhere. It's complete shock to me. I thought it was fake at first. We got a Green Lantern in this movie. We got Hawk Girl in this movie. We got Mr. Terrific in this movie. We got Metamorpho. And first of all, super excited about some of the casting news. So we have Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, but it's Guy Gardner Green Lantern, which I think is perfect casting. We have Isabella Merced as Hawk Girl. She was in the Dora the Explorer movie. And we have Edie Gathegi, I think is how you say his name. He's Mr. Terrific, and we will know him from X-Men First Class. He played Darwin. But then we have Anthony Kerrigan as Metamorpho. And I mean, if we're just going off of looks, Rex, I mean, it's not too far for me to imagine this guy as Metamorpho. So, first of all, What do you think about the casting news? Nathan Fillion and the rest. But on the other side, Are we putting too many characters in Superman Legacy already? Like, are we not supposed to just be focused in small? Like, I don't know what's going on here, Rex.
I think they're just throwing everything out there to try to turn this ship around, right? So Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner Green Lantern, I think is great. Big fan. I was one of the cult, just turned on Firefly, going, "What is this?" And love that show. Love the one movie that they threw out there. That was a sleeper. Got to know Nathan Fillion, and then he was on something else I didn't watch. Some what sitcom?
About Castle? Castle?
Yeah, I didn't really watch it. Didn't really enjoy that.
I first saw Nathan Fillion on Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. I don't know if you remember that sitcom. Ryan Reynolds was on that one. Yeah.
No, I don't remember that one. But like him, I got to be honest. Everybody else they casted don't really know who they are. So.
But that's probably for the best. Like, we didn't know who Hugh Jackman was.
Right? Even Superman and Lois Lane. When they announced, I'm like, who? So I agree with you there. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's a good thing that they're relative unknowns. That gives them the ability to start fresh, if you will. We don't know the people. We can't judge them because who are they? Like Lois Lane was on Miss Maisel or whatever it was. Yeah, never watched it ever. Okay, and I'm sure some people do, but not enough to like Nick Cage. That was just, look, dude, we're gonna judge that all day long. Nick Cage has been an actor for a really long time, made a ton of movies, and we're gonna cast him as Superman. Okay, of course you're gonna have opinions about that. I had opinions about that. Nick Cage, every role he's played is Nick Cage playing that role. Okay, so I expected Nick Cage Superman is going to be just Nick Cage in a Superman suit. Bad idea, I thought at the time. Whether it was or not, who knows? Kind of a what if kind of scenario. But with unknowns, we really have nothing to base it on. So let him do it. I think I agree with you. I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing. I think Affleck and as Batman was probably, we can argue all day. I know there are Zack Snyderverse fans and whatever, and love Affleck, and there's another segment that doesn't. But part of that reason for that controversy, and some of it, it started way back at Michael Keaton. That worked, but when you take an established actor and put him in that role, people are going to judge. Man, there's no way around it. Right? So I think maybe James Gunn had in his mind that to avoid that problem, that I'm going to cast relative unknowns and start really fresh. So we don't know. The one thing we do know is there might be some, but there's not going to be a lot of complaints about, oh, he doesn't fit the role, oh, she doesn't fit the role, or the guy who's playing Metamorpho. So really all we can say about that is physically they fit the role. Like the Superman guy, he's gonna have to bulk up a little bit, but that's not a big deal. But he has that look of Superman. Lois Lane looks like Lois Lane in our minds, however you want to say it. Metamorpho clearly helps that he's bald, but that's the first step. If he had luscious locks like Rockin Robbie, it'd be hard to pull off, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But so don't know the actor really, but he looks like him. Okay, Nathan Fillion. Only because I think he's a good cast. He's known, but he's not established, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't reached that level like a Ben Affleck. He hasn't reached that level even of a Jason Momoa. So, but he's known to us. Other people will say, I know him. What was he in?
Yeah, and people have been clamoring for him to play Green Lantern for years. In fact, it was Hal Jordan everybody wanted him to play, and he actually did voice work as Hal Jordan. But I think it's great casting because Nathan Fillion and James Gunn have been working together for a long time. They did a movie together called Slither that I absolutely love. Nathan Fillion has like a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it's Guardians 3, where he's like a security guard or something, and it is hilarious, right? He's hilarious in the Suicide Squad with James Gunn, right? And so putting that character as Guy, or that actor as Guy Gardner, is definitely playing up to his strengths and his strengths working with James Gunn, because James Gunn also confirmed that he will be in the classic bowl cut. So he's going to be like it's going to be hilarious. I think I'm curious as to how they're integrated into the story. Is it going to be just like a small little part to show that there's a larger thing out there? Is he interacting with these people as he goes? Is he as Superman inspiring different heroes and there's different moments where he's confronting them? Is Mr. Terrific just there to provide like, scientific assistance because he's so smart? There's a bit that's almost like, are they putting in too many characters? But I don't think that the whole point is that they're all like teaming up at the end to take out, Doomsday or something like that. But do you have any concerns about the fact that there are other heroes in this movie?
Not really. Lefty, you should watch Firefly if you haven't. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna love the series. Um, no, I believe you can make it work because I feel like Gunn sort of made it work with Suicide Squad, and then was able to peel off a singular character with Peacemaker and make that work. All right, and Guardians always had a lot of characters in it, right? So I think you can make that work, but you have to do it right. You can't just throw them all together, start filming it, expect it to work. So I think that's what DC has done in the past in a very real way. There wasn't much about. They took the ingredients and just threw it in there and turned the blender on. If you watch enough cooking shows, when you introduce certain spices and stuff, and when you start to cook certain things down, that really affects the taste. So too bad John's not here. He'd be able to tell us a little bit more in specifics. But I do watch cooking shows, and add this at a certain time, add this at a certain time. So there's more than just throwing all the ingredients in blender, turning it on. It'll be great. I love steak, I love watermelon, so I'll throw them in a blender. It should be great. And that's what I feel like DC's kind of done. So I don't know.
They definitely have in the past. Because, for instance, like when they did the Black Adam movie, and they have Hawkman, and they have Atom Smasher, and they have Cyclone, and they have Dr. Fate, and they actually worked better in the movie. They were one of my favorite parts of the movie, right? But like, I don't think that's what we're doing here in Superman Legacy. And now thinking about the fact that these characters are in there, it gets me like wondering, like, are we going to be showing like how inspiring Superman is to these other heroes? Is there just one little bit where he like goes in and he helps Hawkgirl with the mission, and like they have a chat or something? What's the Guy Gardner scene going to be about? Does that mean that eventually we get Batman punching out Nathan Fillion with one punch? Like, wouldn't that be great? That would be so much fun. So I'm really curious to see.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is, I think this may be a good direction, right? I guess Gunn wanted to do a Superman story that was different, and this would be different, right? Every initial Superman film, has focused on Superman and focused on the same story. Mom, Pa Kent, okay, coming from Krypton, and being a child, whether they focused on it or didn't focus on it, whatever part. Essentially, the storyline was still the same. It was still the origins of Superman. And I think Gunn has something here. I'm not going in that direction. I think I read somewhere where he says, we're not covering the Superman origins in Legacy. Okay. And I think that's a good way. Marcus, what's up, bro? I think that's a good way to go. And then throwing all these other characters in the movie, that's not something we've seen with a quote unquote Superman movie. So this might be a good mix. And we know that taking unknown characters and turning them into something with their interaction really has been Gunn's strength as well. We've seen that multiple times. So I'm optimistic, but it's still DC. So, we'll go. I don't know. DC is quickly turning itself into the New York Knicks.
Oh man,
it doesn't matter what happens. You're gonna have a losing season. Yeah, it's starting to feel like that a little bit, though, right?
You had some good times back in the '70s, but
exactly right. So that's what I'm saying. I kind of feel like they're the Knicks perpetually. It's like, they're gonna get. It's like if the Knicks somehow score James Harden. Okay, so we're gonna watch a season of James Harden scoring a lot and the Knicks losing again.
Oh, man.
Right? I mean, come on.
No, you're right. I got a buddy who's a hardcore Knicks fan, and he's just like, it doesn't matter what we do. Like, we could have the best team, and then they just would find a way to just shit it
I
all
can't
away,
even
man.
hate Knicks fans, okay? Because I feel bad for them as well. It's like the Mets, okay? Come on. No matter what they do. You have probably two eventual Hall of Fame pitchers, and you're thinking to join up this season, man. I mean, come on. Yeah, Verlander. I mean, come on. It's like no matter what you do. So I kind of feel like that. Ariaga, I feel for you, buddy. I know it hurts. It hurts you guys.
And Def Rocker, real quick, why not Jon Stewart? They will, I guarantee you, we'll see Jon Stewart eventually, but I'm sure that they're doing the Nathan Fillion and Guy Gardner thing for like comedic reasons, if I had to guess.
And I think they're waiting to see the reception because obviously the last Green Lantern go around didn't go so well. And you can't blame it on Ryan Reynolds, can you? Obviously, he's been a tremendous actor, so many roles available to him. Okay. So he has done totally fine after Green Lantern. Green Lantern, you guys killed it. You haven't found a way to restart that, give it a jump. So you got to blame it on the film, not Ryan Reynolds. So can Nathan Fillion save it? Well, Ryan Reynolds can't. So you still got to give the man a decent character and script. Okay. He's not just going to come in because we love Nathan Fillion and become Guy Gardner and it's going to be a success. So.
Yeah, and I severely doubt this leads to a Guy Gardner movie, but he may be like, because what I get with this is if they got Guy Gardner involved, they got a core already, right? And they may already have like Hal and John are there, guys there. Because if you look, there's a lot of Earth-based lanterns, and it seems like Gunn's wanting to start with the universe in place. Like, this is the DCU. It's fully formed and fleshed out. It's not like a slow build where Superman starts, Batman starts. We're not getting the origin. We're getting the DCU in place almost as is because Damian's going to be there, right? We got Guy Gardner. We got Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl. We got Metamorpho. Like, this is already going to be a universe in place, and we're going to just kind of be plopped into it. And I think that's a really great way to go with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's trying to create that Iron Man moment, but he's doing it his way. And his way, and I like, who is it? Dynamite. I agree with you. Gunn has a way to make you care about those characters you normally wouldn't. And the more characters, the more he has an ability to roll with that. So I'm optimistic. That's what I'm saying. All right, but I don't know. So it's like anything else. You can put James Harden, on the Knicks. They're still going to lose. So can you put James Gunn, okay? Can you put Gunn and Safran on the Knicks, and can they bring home the title? That part is the mystery right now. We don't know.
Yeah.
So
all right, switching gears into the comic book world, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, it has been announced that there is a new book coming out called Miss Marvel: The New Mutant. Looks like Kamala Khan is back from the dead not too long from now. She will be a mutant. This book will actually be co-written by Iman Vellani, who plays Kamala in the Marvels and, of course, the Miss Marvel TV show. This is not a surprise to anybody. We all anticipated this coming. They say that they're not writing out her Inhuman origins, but now she has a new identity of being a mutant that she has to accept as well. So we all said this when they killed her off. They're only doing this to bring her back, try to make her a higher profile character, and now they can bring her back and iron out some things and make her go closer to the MCU version and it just really undercuts and once again makes this most recent Spider-Man run just terrible because it's just so stupid to like have her be barely in this book, make it a big deal that she dies, and then just there's nothing, there's no emotional weight to it, and then like just announce immediately like, yeah, she's coming back. But it's no surprise, we knew this was going to come. Any thoughts, Rex, on this?
I mean, look, it was one of the few series that actually worked. It appealed to a younger market, so it sort of makes sense to do this. Now, will it work? I don't know, but I can understand why they're trying to do this. Yeah, you feel like they are kind of erasing the Inhumans or trying to. yeah, Dynamite. Again, I don't know how old you are or whatever, but I don't believe that adults are necessarily a target market, and I get that. And actually, it's a smart move on their part, because what you're trying to do is, and I hate to use this example, but it's probably the most relevant. It's like the tobacco companies, right? For years before it was outlawed, they would actively try to get younger smokers, realizing that their older smokers were dying, so they had to replace the market. So in a sense, comic books are in the same place right now, because the kids, they have so many other forms of media. To get them to actually buy a book and sit down and read it is becoming an uphill battle. So you need to find a character that attracts them, and then now you have the other step of trying to get them into this medium. So all these things kind of work, right? Because you've created a character on TV, a streaming series that works, and then you saw the popularity, and then you killed her off. So then you're going to bring her back and try to recapture that. Use that. Oh, we killed her. Miss Marvel's dead. Everybody's sad. Boo hoo hoo. And we're going to bring her back and try to capture that youth market. So I understand the logic behind it. Absolutely. So that's not a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, it is just so silly, because it was so obvious what they were doing from the very beginning, right? And that's why the Void Rivals thing that Robert Kirkman did, where they released this book that was the launch of his new G.I. Joe Transformers universe, and nobody knew about it, right? Like, some people, we knew about it, like retailers knew about it, but like they kept that secret. Like, Marvel is like, there's nothing surprising about anything going over there right now. Like, when they killed Kamala Khan off, we knew what the purpose of that was.
Yeah, well, the moment of killing off a character, it's gone. It's that they use that up when they killed Superman.
Yeah.
Okay, we're like, oh my God, national news, Superman, after all these years, they're going to kill him off and blah, blah, blah. And then what happened? Oh my gosh, they brought him back. No kidding, guys. What'd you think? Right? We who read comics expected it, but the rest of the general world didn't, right?
But one of the things that makes the death of Superman, what made it work, was that they made us feel the loss, right? They did the funeral for a friend. They didn't publish Superman books for like a couple months. They brought back some imposter Supermans. They built up to the return. They just killed off this character like a month ago. They had the funeral issue this week, and now the announcement, oh, she's back. She's a mutant.
Yeah, but you know what, though? That it worked. I don't think it worked because of that. I think it worked because no comic book publisher had ever extended themselves to try to kill off a major primary character, right? So, okay. and really, you got to look at Superman as being that primary character, if you will. Him, Superman, Batman, that's DC. Everything else shoots off from that. So they went and they killed, and nobody had done this before. They killed that character off. Then, even, I don't know, whatever reason that they made or came up with, they 2 whole months he was dead, people. 2 whole months. They spent 3 to 4 whole months talking about it. So he wasn't even dead 2 months, and they brought him back. So the buildup, of course, we got to fill in for 2 months. What are we gonna do? We're not gonna stop selling Superman titles. Get the heck out of here. Action Comics titles. So what are we gonna put in there? Superman's dead. So the logical next step is to do that.
And yeah, 62, they did kill off Captain Marvel back in the 70s, but like, you can't compare. You can't say that Captain Marvel was like the Superman of Marvel. That would have been the comparable if they would have killed Spider-Man in the 70s or something,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not talking about minor characters, which we got to call Captain Marvel at the time was a minor character as compared to others, right? So, as compared to a Spider-Man, in that sense.
Yeah, Spider-Man or Hulk or something like that. Yeah,
right, exactly. Captain America, if you will. So you would do it to try to. It was an old trick, but nobody had tried it on this level, and it was a huge move, a huge event. Got picked up by mainstream news, so that worked. So Miss Marvel, we're in a different age, doing something different. So, So they knew what they were doing. We all knew when they killed her off, they're going to bring her back because there's no way they're not. Okay, she'd become a popular character, reach a different segment of the population that they hadn't reached before. So that made perfect sense to me. Okay, let's bring her back. And we all knew it was coming. We didn't know how or in what form. Now we do. So that's not a bad idea. Billy, there's no way they're going to keep him dead for 20 years, man. There's no way. Because at the end of the day, what is this industry? It's like every other. You got to make money. Okay?
Yeah.
You keep Superman dead for 20 years, there's probably no DC Comics to go back to at the end of 20 years anyway.
Yeah. All I was saying about the death of Superman was that they kill him off. That's the event, right? But then what do? Right? And the way that they paced this out, like where they did the funeral lasted like 2 or 3 months, right? Like the funeral for a friend, because there was like one a week and it was like 10 or 12 of them, I think. And then they didn't publish Superman books for like a month or two. And then they brought him back. So it was like a long time. It was longer than 2 months before Superman actually did come back. But they let us, through the other characters of Metropolis and the Justice League, feel the weight and the loss. Marvel did the same thing when they killed off Captain America at the end of Civil War, where I remember even Ed Brubaker saying this was kind of the point. Like, when we kill off Steve Rogers, now we will understand the importance of Captain America. And it took a long time for Steve to come back, and Steve didn't come back with as much fanfare as Superman did. But when we had all that stuff with Sharon and Bucky and Sam having to deal with this and who's going to step into the role, it shows you the importance.
Right.
Okay, this is an opportunity then. You kill Miss Marvel regardless of how it goes. Now it's time to build up the importance of the character. But we haven't done that, which completely undercuts the death to me in the first place.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's a good move on their part from the standpoint that they're trying to nurture the character, pull in a different demographic, which is smart. You need to do that, okay? But again, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm sure there'll be naysayers and there'll be people that liked it and whatever, but at the end of the day, it probably, from a creative business move, it was good stand. It was good to see.
Yeah. And yes, dude, Marcus, you're right. They did do the 4 Superman. They did the funeral. They didn't publish Superman for a while. They did issue 500 of Adventures, and then they stopped publication for a while. Then they started it back up with the 4 new Superman, and then they did the reign of the Superman, which led to the return, which I still go back and reread all the time. But then again, I was like 11 years old, 12 years old when that happened, so I was the prime audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I ate that up like crazy. And I was dead certain that the Eradicator was the real Superman. Like, I would have bet money on it. All right, great conversations today, Rex. Why don't you tell us what's coming up for you guys?
All right, so tonight, Nick, at 7 p.m. Eastern, will have his original art show on the EXP. It's going to be great. Lots of art, a lot of affordable art as well. Okay, so I thought I saw on the list some original pieces of art going for $50. It don't get no cheaper than that. Okay, and then of course Monday, I'm going on vacation next week. So Monday, I believe you're going to get Amy and Alex working with you, and then Wednesday again. Actually, I'll be gone for 2 Mondays. Yeah, Marcus, it would now you missed it. It went out at the beginning as always. And I'll actually be out for 2 Mondays because we got to drive back that Monday, so I probably won't make the show. And then every Monday and Wednesday, summer hours on Wednesday. We start at 7. We're only down to an hour on Wednesdays. But other than that, what you got coming up this weekend?
Well, I want to encourage everybody to check out Dylan's horror show tomorrow as they talk about Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead. This is Steph's pick, and they're going to be celebrating his birthday. That's tomorrow night on Dylan's horror show. But you can join me on PCP Movie Night, where we talk about Missing in Action as we continue Action Fest 2023, the Chuck Norris Canon Films classic. And I'll tell you this, Rex, it's not quite what 8-year-old Robbie remembered it being when I rewatched it this week. I was really excited. What?
Better or worse?
Oh, 8-year-old Robbie thought this was a way better film than 42-year-old Robbie. I'll tell you that. 8-year-old Robbie ate this up.
What? Moving performance didn't hit you right?
Actually, his stoic performance is probably one of my favorite parts of the film. But yeah, it's going to be a great, fun discussion.
Action, you remember why Missing in Action, the whole series was made, right?
Why?
it was made to compete with Stallone.
Oh, because it's like the same plot as Rambo 2,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, it was like, oh look, we got to make one. Call Chuck. Chuck.
Yeah. Well, and they made 3 of them at least with Chuck. Yeah. I remember it was a big, like, I loved it. And you, by the way, earlier you mentioned Iron Eagle, and when I was a kid, I loved Iron Eagle, and I did not like Top Gun. And so, like, kind of to your, like, one thing is, though, think about this. Top Gun to me was like for adults, and it was about love, and it was sappy. When Iron Eagle was about a kid still in a jet and going to fight some evil bad guys, and I was like, yeah.
I walked out of that movie thinking, God, I hope that's not true. I hope military security is better than this. How the hell
no kidding. That's the difference in our ages right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're an adult watching Iron Eagle, like, this is ridiculous.
Norris did win 200 Oscars for missing in action. And then Chuck woke up and said, oh, I got to stop taking those sleeping pills at night.
Yeah, I remember Red Dawn. I love Red Dawn.
Red Dawn, the original. The new one, crap. Okay,
I never saw the remake.
Movies, yeah. And Hemsworth, I love him. Crap. That movie was crap, dude. I hate it. The original Red Dawn, awesome. Absolutely awesome film. Okay, yeah. I'll never forget it. The cast, you know, and they were the hot cast at the time. You know, I mean, come on, man. Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen. I mean, it was the Rat Pack. Oh my gosh. Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze.
Okay, God rest his soul. Taken too early in life, man. He was a phenomenal actor. He really was. Okay, and you want to talk about range? He could be in Roadhouse, Red Dawn. Okay, and then that movie.
Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, Dirty Dancing. Okay. The guy had such range, man. You know, I really didn't appreciate him. I think the first movie I saw him in was, The Outsiders, the one with Tom Cruise. And, you know, that was, and I remember watching that film going, wow, you know, this, I didn't think it would be great, but it was really cool. And then I watched him do a Ghost. Are you kidding me? The guy had such range.
Yeah.
The Outsiders. Yep. I was just, it was the first time I saw him with the Brat Pack. They were all so young and stuff, man. That was a good movie. And the success they had. So to me, that original Red Dawn was just phenomenal. Came out at the right time. They were all hot, every single one of them. Great storyline. That was just awesome.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for the show. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching us on the replay, anything that you have to say about anything we discussed tonight. Rex, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Station